We went to our local pet store, and this is where I ended up getting my Pacman frog. It's a beautiful strawberry pineapple Pacman frog, so it'll have this pink color until it grows into an adult. Then it starts turning more red as you give it more protein and stuff. Super excited about this guy. Haven't thought of a name, but what did you say that it reminded you of?
So, since it has a huge face and a huge mouth, it reminded me of, wasn't it Ubatuba?
No, that's the acai place.
Yeah. Wait, what's her name?
Yubaba?
Yubaba from
Spirited Away.
I'm like...
So, he thinks that it
Ubatuba.
looks like the witch Yubaba from Spirited Away.
Or she?
I don't know if it's a he.
She has a huge face and a huge mouth, so I'm like, Yubaba.
That's actually kind of a cute name, but I also wanted to name her Concha, like the Mexican pastry, because it reminds me of the pink shell. But we'll see. Are you excited to go to your new home? Hey, what's up, you guys? Back again. Here is a new video for y'all. I hope you like it. Today we are going to be setting up a tank for, drumroll please, a Pacman frog. I'm finally getting one of my dream animals. I love frogs. Absolutely love frogs. I'm definitely going to be getting more. Currently I only have my two Dumpy Trio frogs, Kimiko and Harold. Love them to death. And I'm going to be getting more frogs hopefully soon. Or more than this one. I'm super excited to have this frog as well. I love Pacman frogs. They come in such beautiful colors. And they're fun, derpy little animals that just sit in the ground. And they're super cute. And I'm honestly super excited to set this up. They don't need super crazy or wild setups because they are animals that are sit and wait. They just bury themselves in a spot and wait for food to come by. They're not terribly active. They usually just sit in one place, but they're such beautiful creatures to look at that it's kind of fun to have one, you know, even though it doesn't do much. So let's get to it. So the first thing that I'm starting out with is, of course, the tank. I got an Aqueon 10-gallon tank with a screen lid made by Imagitarium. Wow, I couldn't say that. And this is what I'm going to be using for part of its life. As it gets bigger, I will upgrade it to a different tank. Probably maybe a Exoterra opening front tank would probably be nice if they have like one that's not too big for it. But that will come eventually. So the first thing that we got to do, I already wiped this down a little bit. I always like to wipe down the insides of new tanks just to make sure that there's not any disgusting things in here or a bunch of dust or anything. So the first thing that we're going to start out with is going to be our substrate. Right here I have the Terra Firma made by the Biodude. He has great stuff to use for bioactive vivariums, this is going to be a bioactive tank for the most part. Currently I don't have any isopods or springtails right now, but me and my friend Bree are working on making cultures for them so that way we can breed our own. We'll do a video on care and breeding of those eventually, and then we'll add them to our tanks, and that'll be a whole nother thing later. So we got that open. Now what I'm going to do is pour a little bit of water in here to get this moist already so that it's nice and wet for when we get our other stuff in here. I do not have enough hands for this. Okay. We're just going to pour some water in there. Dechlorinated water, of course, animal safe. We don't want to use anything else for our animals. I'm just going to shake that around and give it a little bit of a mix in here. Now we pour straight into our terrarium. Try to give it even amount everywhere. I'm gonna spread that out. Alright, now we need to add our second bag of the terra firma. I may not use the entire second bag, but then again, maybe I will. We want to make sure that when we're setting up burrowing animal substrate, that first of all we have a good substrate for them that holds its shape, just like the terra firma does. And we also want to make sure that our substrate is deep enough for them to dig into. We don't want there to be too little dirt, so that way they don't have enough room to burrow underneath things and create their little tunnels and whatnot. So we're going to use some more than this. I would say several inches deep, probably like 6 almost, somewhere around there. So that way they have a good amount of tunneling space to be able to do what they do and burrow. So we're doing the same thing as the first one. We're going to add a little bit of water to this bag as well and kind of mix it around a little bit. Squeeze it. Trying to mix that water in there so that it's wet. And we're going to pour this into here. Alright, let's spread this around. I think this is a good amount here that we have already set in there. So I think I'm going to save the rest of this dirt for another build that I'm going to be doing and order some more so that way I could have it for that. But for this tank, I think this is quite a bit, especially because it's going to be a younger Pacman frog, which means it'll be smaller, so it won't need to burrow quite as deep because it won't be as big. Alright, so the next step that we have is we're going to introduce our biodegradables. Here we have these leaves. Looks like well, it doesn't really say what types of leaves these are. So, yeah. But we're going to put this as a top layer of biodegradable. But first we're going to mix in our sphagnum moss into our dirt so that way it can create air pockets and hold moisture in the dirt, which will be perfect for our little frog. Okay. This one you also want to add some water to get that wet before you start putting it in there. So we're going to pour a bit of water in here. I'm going to shake that up. Mix the water in there pretty good. Woo. Just leaked all over me. Oh yeah, there's a hole punctured in the bottom. Anyways, alright. So mix that in there. Now we're going to take this out, the moss. We're going to throw that in there. Good amount. Okay, let's work with what we got first before we add in the rest of it, just to make sure. Right, this is gonna just mix right into the dirt. Want to make sure to mix it in everywhere and not just get it in one spot. So I just realized in doing that I totally forgot to mix in the bio shot. So I'm going to do that now and just mix that in here with the leaves. And the step that you actually want to do is you want to make sure to put that in with the dirt and moss before you put the leaves on top, so that way you mix it. But you know what? Stuff happens. And I'm not too mad about mixing in the leaves with the dirt. Now, let's go ahead and start hardscaping. So the first thing that I'm going to do here is add some cork bark hides. These lovely cork barks were also bought using the Biodude's website. It came in the kit that I got from him. We're just going to go ahead and kind of shove this into the dirt in here. Get that nice and deep. So that way this acts as a hide that the frog can bury into and use. Okay, we're gonna move it this way a little bit. And then this larger piece, I'm gonna have standing upright in the back here. Kind of like the way that looks. Alright, cool. Now let's go ahead and add the watering dish in the corner here. Alright, awesome. Now the last step is just to plant the plant. This plant was also part of the kit by the Biodude. So we have this plant here. We're just going to take off some of the excess dirt very gently because we don't want the root systems to get damaged on the plant. Otherwise it will not work and probably will kill the plant. So we're just going to gently brush out some remaining dirt pieces, making sure not to kill the roots. Alright, now I think I'm going to plant this guy right here. So for Pacman frog vivariums, it's not super important to get actual live plants in here. Because they are a burrowing species, they tend to wreak havoc on plants and plant roots because they dig them up. And sometimes they can be worse than even herbivores chewing on the plants because they just totally uproot it and don't even care whatsoever about the plants. But it is kind of more of an aesthetic thing to add live plants to this vivarium, as well as add something that will give oxygen to the area and clean the air. It also adds cool little climbing spots for bugs and anything that might live in your tanks, like the isopods or springtails, although they'll spend most of their time in the leaf litter and in the dirt crawling around. But this is looking like a pretty finished tank here. I may add some live moss eventually. Not really sure if I'm going to do it for sure or not, but we'll see. Alright, so for the last steps, after you plant live plants, you want to make sure that you give them some good drinking water. Because especially if you order them online, they're going to be very thirsty. They get shipped just wrapped in wet paper. So you want to make sure to add a good amount of water in there, just to make sure that they drink. After that, then you add water into your bowl. You want to make sure to have a pretty good bowl to be able to use for Pacman frogs, because they do like to soak in water just like all other frogs. And we are all set for our new animal. Alright, now it's time to add the frog, guys. I'm super excited to let it explore its new home. I think I've fully decided to actually name him Concha, which is a Mexican pastry that the most recognizable one is shaped like a shell, which is what Concha means in Spanish. And they have 3 different colors. There's a pink, there's a white, and there's a brown. Actually, there's 4 different colors. There's a yellow one too. But anyways, so that's what I decided to name it. So everybody meet Concha. And let's go ahead and release it. Just gonna guide her out. There we go. Alright, and she's in. So here it is on the rack. I put this one next to Kylon. It looks so good, you guys. I'm really happy with this. I'm probably gonna add a few more decorations to her tank just to make it nice, since she's more of a display animal and she doesn't really do too much. So making the tank look even nicer would be great. Like I said, I'll probably add maybe some live moss, and then I think I'm gonna add some crystals or something. I'm also going to decorate this with more of like an underground mining / rock theme, because she is a cave gecko and lives in caves, and then she buries herself in the dirt and digs a lot. So I think it would be kind of cool to add those decorations that I had made in the previous video to this shelf to decorate it some more. So we'll see how that turns out at a later date. But here she is.